Let's go. Yeah. Welcome to the C3 Panthers Beat Check, where Tony and Cody put our ears to the street and try to find out what's the beat. What's the beat of what's to come? This week, the Carolina Panthers head into week 3, and it's disaster. It's disaster, but they host their first divisional game, Cody Lashney. They host their first divisional game. Can you put me on the screen? Can you get this video out of here and put me on the screen? Put my mug up here.
You mean that mug right there?
This mug.
Yeah,
that mug.
Right
that mug. Look, I'm telling you this, as the Carolina Panthers are heading into week 3, and it feels like week 3,000 of the Matt Rhule era. We have not won a game in 9 weeks, but we're hosting the first divisional opponent. We come back home after losing on the road to the New York Giants, but we got to play the New Orleans Feisty Saints. And my favorite player from another team. It used to, you know what? I've had two, Cody. If you could name a favorite player from another team, who would it be? And then you have to say this is, what if I said this? What is your secret favorite player from another team in the division?
Oh, in the
like
division?
you don't want to like anybody in the division, right? So you can't say it. You can't say it publicly. But who would be your favorite player in the division?
Oh, well, Jameis Winston, just because he makes me laugh.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? You know, dude,
I swear to God, it was Alvin Kamara because he helped me win a fantasy championship. But it is 100,000% Jameis Winston. He needs to be our quarterback because he's way cooler. He's way cooler.
He gives me a great chuckle. How about that, Tony?
Oh,
you know what?
What did my trainer say? He said, "Be prepared. Be prepared." Are you prepared for the C3 Beat Check, Cody Lashney?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. We have a fantastic guest tonight. We're going to be breaking down this matchup with our, much beloved, much hated at times division rival, the New Orleans Saints. Man, I feel like there's a lot at stake for both teams. And it's going to be a great conversation. You see Lars there on screen. I'll let Tony introduce him in a minute. But before I do, I'm going to introduce the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube, Tony. You already know them and love them. Our man JD, Jonathan Abernathy, Joshua Hall, Lad McHonky, Locks Main, Matt Knows Nothing, P. James 89, Sean Butler, The Buck 123, Underground West, Y Big Jordan, Tim Estes, and the one and only Tim Tizzy. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
I'd like to welcome in Allen Ulrich from Under the Dome podcast, and a guy who's been on this podcast street for a minute now. I feel like you're a vet. You're a veteran podcaster. You're a veteran creator. But you definitely are a veteran Saints fan because he will at some point make a reference to some player from 1978 that no one knows about. Allen Ulrich, welcome back to the C3 Panthers podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's funny. You just said it's your first divisional game. This is our third consecutive divisional game.
Isn't that wild? 3 in a row.
We have here we go. Here's a reference. In the 56 years this franchise has been in existence, we have never had 3 consecutive divisional games in a row like this. It's unusual.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
If we would have beat the Bucks last Sunday, it would have been a good thing.
It would have been a great thing because you would have started out 2-0, right? You're 1-1, right?
Looking at 3-0. Yeah, 1-1. Yeah, we beat the Falcons, but the wheels came off probably just before the fight. But the fight really just kind of.
Oh, I can't wait to ask about this because I'm Michael. I feel like I'm probably gonna side on the other side of the railroad tracks on this. I felt like the punishment was a little bit harsh, but I get it too. It's like you gotta eliminate fighting. But anyway, we're about to preview week 3. The New Orleans Saints are coming to town to the Carolina Panthers, who are struggling. I mean, it is a struggle bus. We've got a lot to talk about, not only with the matchup, but also with just what's going on with these teams in general, from Mike Evans and the suspension that came from the fight with Marcus Lattimore. It's Marcus, right?
Yeah,
I'm always bad with
Marshawn.
names.
Marshawn.
Marshawn, see?
Lattimore.
Yeah, I knew I was
Yeah.
Marshawn Lattimore, as well as Cody. Robbie with a IE. I want to say Robbie with a Y at this point. Robbie, why? Why are you going after the fans right now? Robbie Anderson comes out and it says this is that like you either rock with us or you don't, and you're a fake fan. And I feel
real
like
real fans are fans no matter what, all the time.
I feel like we've been rocking with y'all mugs no matter what anyway. Yeah. And we've had to suffer with this shit no matter what. So we've got all that. Look, we had a great show last night. We had a great post game, and that's in spite of the Carolina Panthers. So this is a must win. I thought must win for the Carolina Panthers last week against the New York Giants. It is decisively a must win for the Carolina Panthers this week, as Matt Rhule tries to find some sort of backbone, some sort of optimism, and maybe extend the life of his coaching tenure for another week. So we've got all that. We're going to preview that. But what we need you to do, smash the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe. Remember, we're here on Tuesdays, Fridays. Well, actually, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Tomorrow, actually, you know what? We might be here every night now.
Yeah, we're here, dude. C3 is here for you all the time, 24/7, all day, every day. Hit the like and subscribe, baby.
I was crushing these shorts today. I want your ping pong short. Folks, you need to go watch that short. The ping pong short is explosive. And I was like, man, why isn't this hitting more? I want this to hit. So Friday, free for all, Sunday post-game show. But let's go. Just remember, you subscribe, you hit the thumbs up button, and we got the join option, $1.99 per month. C3 Superfan can help us grow. And I'm telling you, a bunch of packages showed up on Cody Lashley's doorstep today.
Oh, snap.
We growing. All right, let's get into
I'm in a tin can the next
bro, you're going to come up here and you're going to be like this. You're going to make CK jealous.
Oh,
you make those sexy pipes. He's gonna be like, oh my god, my pipes is not as sexy as I thought. But let's go ahead and get into this. The Carolina Panthers are struggling, man. 9 straight losses going back into last season, and the New Orleans Saints are a feisty bunch. What was it? What were they on that? Can you find that Barstool power ranking? Where we were cheeks. And I wonder what the Saints were. Allen, start of the season, I guess. Before we get into this week's matchup, what were your thoughts and your expectations coming into this season? New coach, kind of some uncertainty. Mm-hmm. Not only a new coach, but I feel like you've been aging at a couple of positions. Like, I mean, I've been waiting for the Saints defense to get old. They don't do it. I've been thinking that, like, hey, Michael Thomas saying that, it's like, what were your expectations coming in this season?
Well, we thought we were going to win the division because I mean, I'll be honest with you. That was the,
You're a fan. That's a fan.
That was the expectations that they're going to win the division because, new coach, but this guy's been here since 2013, and he was here before in the Super Bowl year as defensive back coach. Same offensive coordinator, a lot of the same coaches. So you've got, and a lot of the same personnel. So you're thinking, we get a couple of things go our way. We can beat the Bucs, and we can win this division. Now, what happens after that, I don't know, but that was the expectation. This is an 11 to 12 win team that should win the division. The problem is, twofold. Number one, Jameis Winston is showing, well, he's injured right now, but he shows the same kind of things that you see when he was with Tampa. 1 week he looks great. Next week, it doesn't look so good for him. He looks like a journeyman quarterback. So, you have to deal with that good Jameis, bad Jameis. But the fans felt like we could navigate that with a good defense, good special teams. So we were going to win a lot of close games as long as we stuck to that formula. And you saw that against Atlanta, and you kind of saw that with Tampa. I mean, it was 3-3 to about 7 minutes.
You were not dominating, but like the first half, you had them on like it looked weird. Like I thought that they, I mean, you did, I guess, the best you could.
Well, the problem we had was offensively, we couldn't finish a drive. We couldn't get first downs consistently, and then when you had the one really good drive right before that fight where Mark Ingram put the ball on the ground, I mean, you put the ball on the ground in the Tampa 10, you're going to score in about 2 plays. So we figured we could win a 10-3 kind of game, 13-10 kind of ball game. It's just that's going to be the nature of the Saints this year. They're not going to blow people out. They're going to play a lot of close games because the defense is good enough to keep it close, that the offense doesn't have to carry it. It just needs to make enough plays to win the ball game.
So, and real quick, by the way, shout out Just Don't Care for the $5 love bomb. Appreciate you, Just. And I wanted to kind of stick to the offensive side of the football first, Allen. Jameis Winston, like I said, he's a fan favorite just because everybody loves him.
I want to be our quarterback.
I don't go that far because I do think, I wonder if you agree with me, I still think Jameis is probably pretty prone to some interceptions. I saw some pretty bad ones in that game against Tampa. But, I really wonder, do you think that Jameis has the potential to be the guy going forward? Or do you think that his injury is kind of what's preventing the Saints offense from finding its rhythm, maybe as not quite as early as Saints teams in the past have?
I don't think his injury is painful. It's 4 cracked or broken vertebrae in his lower back.
That sounds horrible.
I know.
It's just painful. That sounds fucking excruciating.
But
he got, you know what he has? Pain. Where?
Yes.
Everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, when he's throwing the football, you're not seeing it really affect his arm strength. You probably see it affect his accuracy because he had Chris Olave open on a couple of those deep shots. He just either overthrew it, or if you're going down the seam, he's throwing it off more towards the middle of the field. So, those are plays that if he's healthy, he probably hits. But the big thing is Alvin Kamara was out. Kamara really is the key to that offense. He's a lot like how Christian McCaffrey was in CMC's prime,
Or still is, honestly, if the coaching staff isn't an idiot. They're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. But, I mean, Kamara.
They're from the same class. They're still in their same prime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just,
is he going to be back? He
practiced today. He was limited, but he practiced today. He's got a rib injury.
What was the injury? What was the injury?
It's a lower rib injury. And I imagine he's going to have to wear a flak jacket, some kind of flak jacket to probably protect that rib. And it's just how well he can manage that kind of pain. But, yeah, Kamara is the key for the underneath routes. He's the key to open up the defense where he can just get out in space, the same ways that they used to use Christian McCaffrey, or they should use him. So as long as that happens, Winston now has a reliable check down option. He's not pushing the ball deep as much. A lot of fans are mad. We don't think he targeted Michael Thomas enough. And that could be because the two of them did not get much time together in training camp, and that's another connection that probably develops as the season goes on. But to answer your initial question, I do not know if he's going to be the long-term answer in New Orleans. He's got a 2-year contract, and the second year is an option year. But this is a proving year for Jameis. He has to prove that he can be the Saints' long-term starter to justify a much larger contract. Otherwise, the Saints are probably looking at, the draft class, the Jimmy G, or whoever free agents come out in the quarterback
Don't want
class.
to be
So
in that bar. We're in
no,
that place. It sucks. Well,
oh,
you're already
absolutely,
that way in a way, right? As
yeah,
Jameis is that free agent
yep,
kind of
yeah,
reclamation project.
yeah.
All right, so Kamara struggling with this injury. Is he? I'm gonna kind of ask because we're ping ponging back and forth on questions, and I hate only asking one question. So my first question is Kamara still got the juice?
Oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Well, actually,
yeah.
not hell yeah, hell no. But again, I said
Damn.
Kamara was he's my favorite. He was my favorite. Jameis is my favorite non-Panther in the NFC South, just because he is so awesomely like if I could hang out with one person in the NFL, it might be Jameis Winston. It really truly might, man. Is
Well,
like he is so unintentionally funny.
he's popular in that
It's
locker room. He really
so
is.
awesome. Yeah, man. And I think Kamara was the other guy because he's just amazing. I picked him in this. Michael Thomas. How about this? Is Michael Thomas elite?
Yes, he doesn't have
Wow,
elite speed.
really?
He doesn't have elite speed, but
And how is
he is.
Jarvis Landry and him pairing together? You guys like that?
They do well. They do well together. The thing about Michael Thomas, the way you have to compare Michael Thomas, you have to look at him like a Chris Carter. Okay.
Only
He
catches
is,
touchdowns. That's
yeah,
what Chris
only catches
Carter.
touchdown. Yeah, but he's a kind of guy that if you need a pass, you need that completion, he's going to get it for you. Get it to him somehow. He's going to make that completion. He had a gorgeous sideline catch where he did a full extension and still kept his toes in bounds. I mean, that's the kind of play. He's not explosive. He's not, I know the knock on him is slant boy, but he does a lot more than run
Somebody
slants.
already said it in the chat.
Oh yeah, I know. Slant, I've seen it. Slant boy. I should have put my Michael Thomas jersey on, but he. The thing about him is he's strong. He's physical. He just creates separation, and that's what you want out of a receiver. He is the kind of guy that is who you look for on third down. And if I'm the Panthers, that's who I'm double covering on third down, because that's where they got to go. That's your best option to get that completion. So,
Yeah. So, Alan, I want to just jump right into what I feel like most people want to know. What the hell happened with Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans? I mean, I know that this has been brewing for a while. They had another altercation. I believe it was a year ago. They had gotten into it.
Okay. So first off, Marshawn Lattimore is Mike Evans' dad, because nobody shuts down Mike Evans like Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, there are some games, you look at the statistics, you just look it up. When Evans plays the Saints and Lattimore is on him, he'll have 0 catches or 1 catch.
I've heard this, that he has historically been bad against the Saints. And he's like one of the most, I guess, like reliable receivers over the last 10 years, Mike Evans, too. So it's not like absolutely. It's just like.
No. And so he is a very physical receiver who's got the size and likes to use it to bully defensive backs and fight for the ball. And usually he wins, except against Lattimore. Lattimore gives it to him right back. So, yeah, you did mention that they have a history that goes back since Lattimore's come in the league in 2017. I think it was 2019, maybe 2018. Jameis Winston's the quarterback for the Bucs. And Lattimore, it's 2017 because Lattimore was a rookie. Lattimore does something on the sidelines, and you can look it up on YouTube. Winston goes and uses his finger and pushes the back of Lattimore's helmet. And Lattimore spins around, and here comes Mike Evans out of nowhere and just tackles him, and the fight starts there. So we're going back now, 6 years, 5 years? And this fight has been brewing, and you'll see them hand-checking each other and pushing on each other and everything else. So that fight breaking out didn't surprise me in the least. That's who it was involving. And really, it was, and I'm sure Panther fans say the same thing when you got to play Tampa. It's Tom Brady whining to the officials. He whines about his receivers can't get covered.
A lot.
He whines about not getting the calls. He whines about holding. He whines about everything. So basically, if you read the lips of the players and the gesture that Lattimore made, Lattimore basically said, "Get the hell out of here, you bitch."
Quit
whining. Quit whining. Yeah. So Brady always whines, and with the Saints beating the Bucs 4 consecutive times, which nobody has ever done to Tom Brady in the regular season.
Right. You got the number, or you had their number until last week.
Well, yeah, and like I said, that was when the wheels came off. But I mean, and we've beaten him with Taysom Hill. We beat him with Trevor Siemian. So we're not talking about elite quarterbacks here that managed to beat him.
It's frustrating to the whole Bucs people, right?
Absolutely.
It's frustrating to Tom, the crybabiest of crybabies. Mike Evans is frustrated there because he's getting shut down.
So, yeah.
Do you think the punishment was necessary? Do you think the full game suspension was necessary for just a big push?
You know, the person I really think, there's 2 people I think that should have gotten punished. If you go back and watch the footage, Russell Gage, an ex-Falcons receiver, throws a punch in there, and he didn't get anything called on him. And that's really when it's the big scrum, and you just see Russell Gage reach over and punch somebody, which is the dumbest thing because you hit a helmet. But I think the person who should have gotten in trouble was Bruce Arians. Arians had no business being on that sideline like that.
Why is he even? I thought he retired.
Yeah, and did you see Antonio Brown posted about it too?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, AB posted something about it regarding Bruce Arians. That's how I.
Why was he there? I thought he retired. Is he in the front office now?
He is a front office guy, as a consultant. I'm putting that in quotation marks. And he's down there instigating stuff, and allegedly he was the one that told Evans, go get him, and had Evans go charge it because he's right there. And the big story, it was all over Twitter yesterday or Monday, sorry. He said there were no seats for him up in the press box booth where he was supposed to be. And the Saints came right out and laid out the map, and his reserve seat was sitting right there.
Yes.
Like, you've got
he's
seats.
Crying like Tom Brady.
Exactly. Now he was down there because
he's. You know what? I feel like he's always been a crybaby too.
Yeah,
he's kind of been a sideline whiner the whole time. A sideline whiner is what I would call him. I don't know. It's like he has taken shots at the people after in the press conferences, his own players. He's whiny. They're perfect together.
It's the funniest thing. Here are the Bucs. They won a Super Bowl. They won the division last year, and yet they feel like they're the underdog and disrespected team in the division. So they always have, and they really hate dealing with us. And they're trying to establish some sort of quote unquote rivalry with us. And like, no, dude.
Oh man, don't do this to them.
Falcons are our team. The Falcons team going.
Y'all. Yeah. You are my ice up pick this week. Now, this is what I hate. Is look,
it's true, Tony. It's 1,000, and the Falcons fans say it. Saints fans say it. The only real rivalry in the NFC South is the Saints and Falcons, man. For a while,
I feel like I hate the Falcons more than anybody. I hate this where I hate someone so bad, and they're like, "Oh, I don't hate you back."
The thing
the Bucs are trying, like the Bucs are trying to step into our fake rivalry zone. That's fucking. And at least let us be the next up.
Look, I call Tampa right now and all their fans the Brady-neers, because the only reason why they're fans of Tampa is because of Tom Brady. I've been in that stadium prior to Tom Brady. Ain't nobody in there. You can go shoot deer in that stand because there's no fans. There's nobody there. There's more Saints fans in a Tampa game when you had Josh Freeman, when you had Jameis Winston quarterback in that team, when you had all those guys out there after they fired John Gruden, they didn't have any fans in that stadium. It was always empty. So, all these Brady fans jumping on, talking about this is my team, I ride and die with them and stuff. Like, get out of here. You want to show me you ride and die with somebody, ride and die with them when they're 3-13. That's when you're showing me you riding and dying with somebody. I got more respect for you guys than I do the Tampa fans. They're ridiculous. They're a bunch of bandwagoners.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to be a real rival of somebody, weird shit's got to happen in games that you guys play. And if you go back and look at the Saints Falcons history, I mean, Big Ben, a punt sailing over the head, a snap sailing over the head of the punter, and he runs and tries to get it and throws it right to the guy on the other team. He scores a touchdown and wins in overtime. That kind of stuff. Referee calls that, cost you the game, that, and you just get angry about it, and it was close games, and because you lost to your rival, you got kicked out of the playoffs, that kind of stuff. That's what builds up a rivalry, not this, oh, we got Tom Brady, so now, we're all proud of ourselves. No. When you're both 3-13 and the loser picks number 1 overall, but that game is like your Super Bowl, that's a rival game. That's what defines a rivalry.
Yeah. So I want to turn our attention to this matchup because one of the things that I'm interested in is that Saints offensive line against the Panthers front 7. And the defense has been a very big topic of discussion for us recently, Allen, because a lot of the conversation has been around our defensive coordinator, Phil Snow, and his implementation of what we would call the 3-3-5 college style defense. And it's really been driving us up a wall. But also, we have reason to believe we had some sources that even Panther players and coaches are not very happy with the way that the Panthers run their defense. However, against the Giants this past week, we did have a good defensive performance early on. I'm wondering about the Saints and their ability to protect Jameis Winston. How does that offensive line look? And do the Panthers have an opportunity to maybe pin their ears back against Jameis this week?
They have a good chance of pinning their ears back and getting Jameis because there's a couple of things going on with the offensive line. They were really bad against Atlanta. There's no way to sugarcoat it. They were really bad against Atlanta. They got a lot better against Tampa with their blitz protection.
Is that a little surprising since Tampa is supposed to be the better defense?
Yes, but here's the thing, and I think this is something that Panther fans should be able to take to heart too. Because you only play 3 preseason games, and the way preseason goes now, and there's fewer padded practices, so there's very little contact in training camp, that it usually takes 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season before you start really seeing the identity of a team. So I'm not surprised that they seem to be better against the Giants than they were in week 1 against the Browns. I think you'll see that across the league where teams start getting a little bit better at things. So I think that first week, this is just an offensive line that just did not play together enough to really gel and get all their calls right. And they emphasized that in practice last week. So they got better at it last week. And I think they can get better this week. The key, though, is to run the football because here's the problem with Jameis. Fans have been critical in New Orleans that Jameis takes too deep of a drop and doesn't step up into the pocket, and he holds the ball too long. Whereas Breeze, when Drew was there, it was 1, 2, 3, get rid of it.
He climbs that
and he
pocket
climbs
too.
It. Yeah, and he knows that in every defense he sees, he knew exactly where the weaknesses were. And you may fool him for a little while, but he's going to be sitting there looking at that pad, and he'll figure out what you do, and then he's going to attack it mercilessly.
Isn't that kind of like an unfair expectation. You know, you got a
Oh
guy that
yeah.
threw for 5,000 yards and who is a Hall of Famer
Mhm.
and is the best of the best. You know, it's like you
Yeah.
spoiled. I mean, you know,
It is.
it sounds like you
It's
sound spoiled right now.
well. It's like Miami with Dan Marino once he was gone. It's like New
That was
England's been upset
40
with Brady.
years ago, bro.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying when a guy plays, and Breeze was there for 15 years, 16 years, and played at an elite
Long with
level.
you guys? Was it that long?
Yeah,
No
yeah.
way.
Well, he was there
Really?
from 2006 is when he showed up. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah.
You know what's funny about that is, or not funny, interesting is that since we have been starting a different quarterback every year for the last 5 years, um, we continue to have the conversation of everybody. The comparison is to Cam Newton. You know, like it's like, and I
Yeah.
always tell people it's going to be the comparison is going to be in to Cam Newton till it's not.
Hmm.
You
And
know, and that's like
that's
until that standard or that till somebody could not supplant but replace the discussion. You're always going to make that comparison
yeah.
because that's the greatest you've ever had.
Right.
Well, let's talk about this defense for a moment. How good is it, and why will Cam Jordan not get old?
They got some fans upset that Cam Jordan's not getting his sacks yet. Now, again, it's just like what I said with the offensive line. It's going to take a few games, and then it'll come back. Cam Jordan's amazing. He really is.
He's a player that you hate when he's not on your team,
Oh yeah,
but if he was on my team, he would be one of my favorites. You know what I'm saying? Like I would love to
yes,
rock with that guy. I just hate
absolutely.
him because he's not on my team.
he doesn't grow old, and he hasn't missed a game. Yeah, not
How
one
old is
single.
he? I mean,
He
like
can't.
really, I've been waiting for and I've made this mistake for a couple of years, Alan. Is it's kind of like with the Tom Brady thing, is that
Mhm.
we've kind of anticipated him hitting the wall,
Yeah.
you know, and it never happened. I felt like that with the Saints defense. Is I was like, man, the Saints defense has been good for 4 years now. You know, what I mean? Like that, like come
Yeah.
on, like it's time for them to have a drop off. And I've stopped after last year. I stopped betting on it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is like, I just believe they're going to be good. Why is he not aged? How old is he? And why has he not aged?
He's been there since 2011. He was a first round draft pick in 2011.
That's Von
So
Miller. That's what
yeah,
Von Miller and Cam. Think about
yeah.
that. He came in here with Von Miller and Cam, and this mug is
Hmm.
still rocking.
Yep. He's just an incredible athlete. He's the son of Steve Jordan, the former Vikings tight end, from the Bud Grant days. I mean, that's how far back that goes. So, but he just takes incredible care of himself, and he's now. It's no longer about physical ability. It's about what he's learned. He knows what to do to beat somebody, and that just makes him so good. That really does. And he is, if he gets 10 sacks this year, he will surpass Ricky Jackson, the Hall of Famer, for the all-time Saints franchise record for sacks. I think he's at 107.
107.
Yeah, and
What does
Ricky
that put
Jackson.
him? I wonder what that puts him in the all-time conversation.
I think Bruce Smith and Reggie White are really up there.
160, 150.
I think
Julius
they're.
Peppers is up there too. Let me see.
Yeah, I think he's like 140, 150. Yeah, somewhere around that. I think Bruce Smith has got the all-time record. I might be wrong on that one.
Oh God, if you hear this number, you're gonna go crazy.
What
It's
is it?
200.
200? Yeah,
That's insane.
yeah.
And then it
And
goes Reggie White 198,
yeah.
Kevin Green 160. Damn, poor of Julius Peppers 159 and a half.
Mm,
He's right
yeah.
there. He's right there. So
Wow.
Cam Jordan, a great career, but man,
Yeah.
that's a long ways to go. Von Miller is 16 and a half sacks ahead of him.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. And it depends on how they use you. I mean, if you start being used, like Kevin Green was both a defensive end and an outside linebacker. So, he had a lot of opportunities to rush the passer. But yeah, being for so many years, the Saints had bad defenses until 2017.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. So, that probably
Your
set him back a little
identity
bit.
is completely flipped from what I used to think it was, the Saints, and that was one that had a questionable offensive line and a questionable defense. And now, for a long time, you've switched to a strong defensive team with a very solid offensive line. Ever since you went and got that, I kind of mark it when you traded from that center from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
it's like I felt like that was like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just felt like all of a sudden I was like, man, now I'm watching the Saints offensive line. What do you guys think about this coach? Tell us about this coach. You said he's been with the team for a while. Go and get a defensive coach. And almost like you didn't even have any interviews. You just hired from an internal hire here. Do you like the selection, and do you think he's had this team prepared?
Dennis Allen first came to the Saints back in 2008 as a defensive backs coach, and he was defensive backs coach in the Super Bowl year. And then he left, became the Raiders head coach. Terrible time with the Raiders. I think he was like 8-15 or some awful record like that. And then he came back to the Saints when they had Rob Ryan as a defensive coordinator, and he basically took over and forced Rob Ryan out. And he's been there ever since, so 2016 till now. They did interview a couple of people, but this was their guy, I think, from the outset, because he was part of the culture they had built here. I think he's going through the growing pains, too, of being a head guy. And there is a change in the identity of the Saints. When Breeze was there, like you were saying earlier, bad defense, powerful offense. They're going to throw the ball on you. They're going to try and run up the score on you. Now you're starting to see much more of a defensive-minded team that wins close games with great defense, and they're going to try and run the ball a lot more. They're going to have explosive pass plays, but it's not going to be, we're coming off the bus throwing the ball. That's just not their identity anymore. And I think as that develops, you'll see Dennis Allen being a better head coach.
Interesting stuff there. I wanted to turn the attention to a first-round draft pick, Chris Olave. He was probably my favorite receiver coming out of this year's class. I'm a Clemson fan, so I have really bad experiences with Olave because Justin Fields and Chris Olave cooked us in the college football playoff their final season. But I wanted one of the narratives I wanted you to either confirm or deny is I saw that some fans were saying that it seemed like Jameis Winston is trying to force feed Chris Olave. Like they're really trying to take every opportunity they can to get Chris Olave the ball. And you said earlier that you would like to see Michael Thomas get more targets. Do you believe this is part of the reason why he isn't getting as many targets? Just because they have this electric young wide receiver talent? I have Ohio State, by the way, and it seems to me like the Saints have the best of luck with Ohio State wide receivers. Do you feel like there is an air of really trying to get Olave the ball at all costs?
Oh, yeah. Well, we make jokes all the time that we need to watch Ohio State football because we got to see who the Saints going to draft next year. Because you've got so many, Michael Thomas, Ohio State, Marshawn Lattimore, Ohio State. Chris Olave is the latest Ohio State guy. At one time, they had Eli Apple, Ohio State. They had I can't believe it, Malcolm Jenkins, Ohio State.
Ted Ginn Jr.
Ted Ginn Jr. Ohio State. Yes,
that's another
absolutely.
good
Absolutely. So, yeah, they make jokes about that all the time that they call the Ohio State Saints because so many players come out of that program, much to the chagrin of LSU fans who feel like we should have all these LSU players. But, yeah, I think there is an attempt to feed the ball a lot to Olave because he's so explosive, because he has so much speed. They want those big plays. And I think last week was kind of an aberration because you got to think about this. Last year was the game that Jameis Winston got injured and out for the year against his old team. This was a game he had circled on the schedule, his revenge game. And he wanted to blow the doors off of that defense. And he was going to do that by hitting a deep ball to Chris Olave. So he was determined to make those plays, and they weren't happening. I think you're going to see a lot more Michael Thomas this week against you guys, because the emotions.
Good, we got him on the PrizePicks.
Yeah, there you go. But I think that you'll see Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas get targeted a lot more, not so much Olave this week. I wouldn't. There may be a deep shot to him, but nothing like what you saw Sunday.
We have a friend of the show, Panther Pickle. He's our guy. He comes on the Friday Free for All. He wants to know this, is that the New Orleans Saints had a long interview last year with Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
And a hot name when the Panthers were hiring their coach a few years ago. The name has cooled off. And then again, they just hired internally. What did you think? Do you know anything about the Bieniemy story? Everybody wants to know what the heck is going on with Bieniemy. I think, man, I have some trepidation in this. Is Andy Reid's the mastermind there? Come on.
That's my feeling too. I mean, it's the same reason why Pete Carmichael has never gotten a coaching interview. All these years, the Saints offense was putting up all these records. You know, Carmichael was the quarterback with Sean Payton. He was the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. And then they made Joe Lombardi the quarterback coach. He's now the offensive coordinator for Detroit. But, you know, Carmichael never gets any kind of interviews. And I think it's the same thing, that they thought that Peyton was the genius, the guy running the whole show in New Orleans. And I think they think Andy Reid's the guy who's running the show.
Which he is. I mean, and I'm not trying to knock on Bieniemy, but we got to give Andy Reid his credit. Speaking of that, we want to know about Sean Payton. So Sean Payton's name has been floated around for the Dallas. Supposedly there was some report last year when the Panthers were ready to fire Matt Rhule and are still ready to fire Matt Rhule that they were interested in Sean Payton. And then our guy, Panther Pickle, who just asked that question about Eric Bieniemy, has told us that it would not just be an ability to sign Sean Payton because he's still under contract. Tell us, what is the status of Sean Payton and what would it take for a team, maybe not the Panthers, but like Dallas, to get him?
Draft picks. It's going to take draft picks to get him.
How, man? A lot?
Well, you got to look at like John Gruden, which was a trade. And you have to look at some of these other coaches they've released for a contract. Depends on what a team's willing to pay. I don't know how much this is going to be. I mean, Saints fans can get delusional after a while. I mean, they start talking, 2 firsts, 3 firsts. I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen.
That's crazy.
Absolutely. I think you'd be lucky if you get a first-round pick. It'll probably cost you maybe a couple second-rounders, one, next year, next year's draft, 2023, and one maybe in 2024, something like that. I mean, it's something. The important thing is the Saints still control his rights, so they can kind of control where he goes. So that would take a team like Carolina out. It would take a team like, if the Falcons turn around and fired Arthur Smith, it take.
Which would be, but don't you think that would be silly?
Yeah.
That would be silly. He's not going in the division. That's the thing. There's no way. Is that it would cost the Saints would get what they want for him if he went in the division.
Absolutely.
You're delusional Saints fans. And I'm not trying to shit on them, but what I'm saying is like if he goes to the AFC, then you get the second or something. But if he comes to the NFC South, we would have to give 3 for it would be something so ludicrous. Like Deshaun Watson.
It drives me up a wall when I hear Panther fans saying that we should go and get Sean Payton. Because it's like, one, why would you trade that many picks to your division rival when, let's be real, you need those first round picks? I mean,
Absolutely.
if Matt Rhule is indeed on the hot seat and getting ready to be fired, which I'm of the belief that he is, Alan. I
If
think
we lose this
that
week,
if
bro,
your
it's done.
Saints come in and
Mhm.
shellac us at home, that's probably the last time the Saints are playing a Matt Rhule coached Panthers team. I mean,
Oh, it's
it's
yeah.
like that over here.
Yeah, we play you guys in the dome in January of next year, okay, for the final game of the season. And it is a given that we know you can have an interim head coach by that game. For
And
that
we're
game.
not
I mean,
even going to
Damn.
be in contention. And you know what?
right.
No,
I
he
wish
said he's
that
not
I
even. It's
could.
a given. He's already fired.
Yeah,
Oh
but
He
yeah.
might
listen,
be fired after this week. We
it's
really think
also
that
a
Right.
could happen.
given if you go on our current trajectory, and I wouldn't blame a Saints fan for thinking this, that we're probably not going to be anywhere near contention by the time we play that game. Because that's how it's been for the Panthers the past 3 years under Matt Rhule. And it's hard for us to really expect more given what we have seen.
Well, I mean, and I'm not following you guys close enough to know everything that goes on, but you just look at some of the moves he made. He had to have his quarterback, so he got Sam Darnold, and you gave him a
Oh,
bunch of
no, let's
money.
go back to the Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh,
dude.
Teddy Bridgewater, another one. Yeah, he had to have a quarterback, so he got Teddy Bridgewater. That didn't work out. Brings in Sam Darnold, pay him a lot of money. That doesn't
Didn't work out.
Yeah, so now
Next.
you got Baker Mayfield in there, and
Not working out.
if that doesn't work out, now you've gone through three quarterbacks. Oh, that's the face of this is a quarterback driven league. That's the face of your franchise. You spent an entire draft on your defense. Is your defense getting better? That's
Not
debatable. It could be
not good
scheme.
enough. Yeah, not
Yeah.
fast
And
enough.
it's probably scheme. I mean, playing a 3-3-5, that's a college defense. We play a 4-2-5 occasionally. Now, lately we've been putting three linebackers out there, but our fifth defensive back is a safety corner hybrid. So it's
Which that sounds like it would fit us better, wouldn't it, Cody? A 4-2-5 would be better than a 3-3-5. Right now, we got Brian Burns lining up against receivers out in
yeah. I
coverage.
mean, it's
Yeah,
just
it's the amount of
That's
times that
silly.
Brian Burns has dropped back in the coverage is
26% of
honestly embarrassing.
it's too much
yeah.
when he's your
So
best pass rusher.
so imagine Brian Burns now lined up, and he's got to cover Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield. What's going to happen on that play? What's going to happen?
Well, I tell you this is that we got away with it a lot. So I took some flack because I'm not an X and O guy, Alan. Like I don't know enough about football to tell somebody how they should. I just know I have an eye test. I know the eye test. Like
Yeah.
I've watched enough football to say that don't look right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't tell you exactly what somebody's assignment was and this and that. So I put up this. I was watching the game. My friend told me this. I got drunk after this game on Sunday. I stayed up late and I said, I'm going to watch it again, which my friend goes, what kind of sick person would watch this game again this late at night? And I was like, me. So I saw this one thing and I'm looking at this play and Brian Burns is lined up in the slot and the defense and they're playing zone. But it's Kadarius Toney
Oh my God.
on the other side, who's the fastest player
Yes.
on their whole team. And I thought this is like, and some people tried to tell me this is zone. This is zone. He's just got to cover this area. And I was like, I still don't buy this. And I said, the only reason that this didn't turn out to be a disaster is because we weren't playing Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Or Aaron, like I feel like any real like a quarterback like Drew Brees would be like, oh yeah, we're about to do he's gonna do this he's gonna pull his ear and you're gonna do this, and we're about to
you'll hear him saying kill
and jack this up. So so that is problematic. I do want to ask you this though, is what do the Saints need to do better right now as a team, and what do they need to do to win this game coming into Carolina on Sunday?
They need to execute the offense better. They need to run the ball more consistently. Stop putting the ball on the ground, Mark Ingram. I mean, he's fumbled twice in 2 games. And they need to execute the passing game a lot better, be a lot more consistent. That's really what's hurting them. They're just not consistent like they were before. And defensively, they got to get after Baker Mayfield. They got to take out, McCaffrey. Do not let him get involved in the game, and then just get after Mayfield. Push around the Panthers' offensive line and get after and make Mayfield make the mistakes that get you the win. That's really the key. I mean, the joke from one of the Saints podcasts is this is a loser leaves town game. If the Panthers lose, you guys been talking about it. Your coach probably leaves Monday morning. If the Saints lose this game, and it's because of Jameis Winston, fans are going to be clamoring for Andy Dalton to take over because like I said in the beginning, the expectations are we're winning this division. We can't beat ourselves and not win this division because that's important to us.
This sounds like pain. Pain. Where? Everywhere. Pain everywhere.
Exactly. They were angry. They were angry at the Saints for daring to lose to Tampa. They were the post-game reaction and stuff was so angry that they lost because they loved lording it over Tampa that we beat you in the regular season. I know what happened in the playoffs, but they love being able to beat Tom Brady. And losing that game has gotten a lot of people angry. So it's an important game for us. And then we go to London next week. We play the Vikings in Wembley Stadium.
Okay.
And no bye following that week either. We play Seattle at home. Our bye is not until week 13, and the Saints actually requested that. They did not want their bye in September. They wanted their bye later that year, and the league said, "Okay, we'll give it to you in December now." So
we also have a pretty late bye ourselves. Alan, I kind of feel like the keys to victory are the exact same for both teams. Mm-hmm. The defensive line is to play aggressive. They need to get the quarterback off of their spot, make them move, get after them, pin their ears back, and make them get the ball out of their hands in order to make your defensive backs play fast and pick the ball off. Now, the Panthers, this is an embarrassing number. The Panthers defense has not had a takeaway all year. Through 2 games, we have not taken the football away. I got to be honest. I feel like we have a good chance to get at least 1, maybe even 2 when playing Jameis if we're able to rattle him enough. My question is how do you think Jameis, with his ability to kind of throw some inopportune interceptions versus the Panthers' young defensive back core, with guys like J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson. We still don't know about Dante Jackson. He had a bit of a hamstring injury. Mm-hmm. But we do have those really young, fast defensive players. How do you look at that matchup between Jameis and them?
Here's the thing about Jameis. Jameis tends to throw the ball high. For whatever reason, it's got to be his release point when he lets the ball go, but he throws it high. So if I'm a defensive back, this is going to sound painful for Panthers fans, but I'm letting this guy, the receiver, get in front of me because if I'm getting pressure on Jameis, chances are he's going to overthrow the receiver, and I got a pick coming right to me. The danger is if Jameis has time and sets his feet and squares his shoulders, he's going to hit the guy, and you got to now play catch up, and your fans are screaming, "Why the hell did you just let him stand there and catch the ball in front of you?" But if you look at the interception against Tampa last week, that's both of them, or all 3 of them. All 3 were high balls. The second one he threw was to Michael Thomas, and it sailed way over Thomas, right to the defensive back who was playing zone behind him. And the third one, he's throwing it, and the defensive back just baited him and jumped the route and caught it. So, I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to get pressure on Jameis so he gets inaccurate, and your guy that's behind the receiver, look for that ball because it's coming. He's going to throw it high and probably over the head of his intended target.
Yeah. And then my final question for you tonight, Alan. You've been tremendous. We always love
Thank you.
picking your brain, having an opportunity to, catch up with you. It's always great to do so. My
Thank
question
you.
is this: who wins this game? Flat out. Did the Saints get a W on the road and finally relieve us of our Matt Rhule burden?
No, by
Or
the way, he asked me on our show last night, do
I
you
did,
secretly want the Saints to win
just to put us out of our
because of that?
misery. Don't
Yeah,
prolong it.
Well,
but
Not as
I
if
know.
not
So
to
you think that
prolong the
question's hard?
inevitable.
He asked me if I wanted to just jump off a cliff myself. So who wins this game, Alan?
I'm gonna say, obviously, I'm gonna say the Saints are gonna win this game. But here's the funny thing about this series: the Saints have done better, and I'm talking post Cam Newton, but they've done better in Carolina than they have
Totally.
at home.
And same for us, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the reversal of that.
Yeah, you guys have won more games in the Dome than you have, when we play you guys in Carolina.
Yeah.
So, in fact, 2017, that was our turnaround game. That was the game.
I was there. Was that early in the season? Was that when Drew Brees just smoked it?
It was
I was
week
at
3.
that game.
It was week 3 in 2017.
Yeah, I was at that game.
And we went to London the following week to play the Miami Dolphins.
But y'all got no Drew Brees this year.
No, there's
wish
no
you
Drew this
did
year.
to just put us out of our misery.
So I expect them to win this game. I think the rematch in New Orleans at the end of the year, I don't know what's going to happen by that point. We might be out of the race. We might have the division locked up. Who knows? But I think that's going to be a much tougher game at the end of the year than it is this week. I think, a lot of this, I don't know what kind of feel the fans, the team has about Matt Rhule. I don't get a sense.
Don't worry. You don't need to hear about it. We have a terrible feeling about him right now.
Well, I'm talking about the team itself, too. I think that, I don't know if the team has kind of tuned him out or, they know he's dead man walking. And that affects the way a team approaches a game. I'm glad he wasn't fired last week because the worst thing
you wanted to play him this week.
Well, the worst thing you do is once you fire a head coach, that interim coach always seems to win that first week. That he is the coach because that burden's been lifted from the team. Now it's about playing to keep my job. I know I'm being evaluated, and they kind of think they can put stuff together. So I don't know if that's the feeling in the Carolina Panthers locker room. It's early in the season. So, the optimism may still be there that they could turn something around. But that was a tough loss to the Giants last week.
Oh, man. 2 years in a row. I told you we were going to try to do 30 minutes and probably 40. We're an hour in. So we are going to wrap this up. You know how we go. But I cannot stop asking questions here. We're sponsored by PrizePicks. I'm going to give a free ad for PrizePicks because they only advertise on Tuesday and Friday. But we're addicted to PrizePicks. So you can go to PrizePicks and with the promo code C3, get 100% first-time sign-up bonus up to $100. PrizePick is legal in 30 states. It is daily fantasy football sports, right? It's awesome. My question to you to get out of here before we get out of here is this: is the way PrizePicks works is kind of like a parlay type system. I'm not supposed to say that word, but it's multiple entries, loopholes. Everything's loopholes, but we've got 4 picks. If I put $5 down, if all 4 picks entries hit, we win $50, right? 5 turns into 50. Not bad. I got Christian McCaffrey over 55.5 rushing yards. Do you like that? More than. Actually, I'm supposed to say more than.
55 yards rushing?
Yeah. You think he can get 56 yards against the Saints?
Yeah, I'm gonna say you take the over on that. I think he won't get 100, but I think he'll get over 55.
Sure. All right. We took the more, which more is the synonym for the word you just said. They don't like this. They don't want to be associated as the
Oh,
G
so
word.
can't
It's
can't
daily.
say
They say, well, you can, but it's not that. But they're like, please, they're like, say more.
yeah. Don't say the O word.
More
Don't
or
say the O
less.
word.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
More or less. Michael Thomas, 59.5 receiving yards. We took more.
Yeah, more definitely.
All right. Jameis Winston, we took more than 215.5 yards.
215.
Oh, see, this is the one Cody was worried about.
Yeah, that's
Shit.
tough. That's a tough one because he has yet to throw for three. I don't think he's thrown for 300 yards.
But
as a
he's not
Saint.
been under 215 either, I don't think. He's like right around 220, 230.
He was under 100 yards until 7 minutes into the fourth quarter, just to give you an idea,
Oh,
last
yeah,
week.
Bucks.
But he got the 255 in desperation mode. So
what would you do? More or less? Would you take more or less if it was you? We already took more.
Let's go with more on this one. I think he gets.
I feel like this is like and we got screwed with this on Baker last week. Is like if you ain't throwing 215, y'all are trash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's a trash that, and don't worry, we were trash last week. Baker only had 145 yards. Like 215 seems like, and it almost means like if Carolina's winning, that's a good thing for us for this.
Right.
The last one is a non-Panther pick.
Okay.
We took Nick Chubb, who's playing Pittsburgh tomorrow night. He's got a half. Is like if he gets one rushing touchdown, we get our fourth pick. Would you? It's 0.5, more or less.
I think he gets more. I think he gets.
Yeah,
I think he gets at least one touchdown. Because
I love him. He loves all the picks, Cody.
Yeah, Steelers have no pass rush, and that quarterback. It's only a matter of time for Pickett takes over.
All right, fantastic stuff. Allen Ulrich, Under the Dome podcast. Tell them, first of all, they need to go and follow you on Facebook, right? Because
absolutely,
you write these ridiculous. And when I say ridiculous, they're wildly entertaining recap posts.
I got jokes. I gotta have jokes.
It's like I feel like it's like a 17th, like somebody writing a not like a comedy, like what did they call those? It's like it's awesome. You got to read his recaps.
Canterbury Tales versions of the recap of the Saints.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, there's a little X and O's in there, but for the most part, it's a good, bad, and ugly. So that's a general theme. Good,
How
bad,
can they
and
find you on Facebook, Twitter, and on the internets?
Okay, on the interwebs, you can find me on Facebook under my name, Allen Ulrich. I got a picture of Little Enos Burdette as my profile pic. That's how you know it's me. That changes occasionally, but then on social media, on Twitter, I'm at 79 Saints. That's not my first Saints team. That's just one of my favorite Saints teams from the 70s. And because I'm older than that, I'm an old man.
Oh, I thought you were born in 1979.
I was 12 in 79. So
I'm like winking.
Thank you. But yeah, and the other things on Instagram, I don't
Under the Dome podcast. Get on YouTube and check it out.
Yes.
Jesus.
Thank you for prompting me. Yes, Under the Dome podcast. Quick.
Great podcast name, by the way.
Thank you. Our co-host and co-founder Sean Williams. I don't know if you guys know about this or not. Sean, apartment caught on fire. He suffered burns on 25% of his body. He was asleep.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and we think that I have yet to talk to him because he's still in the ICU unit. But we think he passed out from breathing in smoke, and he burned his back and his left arm, and he's in bad shape. So I would he's at ICU in LSU Shreveport Medical Center. But guys, everybody, I would appreciate y'all's prayers because Sean's a great guy.
Yeah, we've done it for 10 years. I've known him for
Yeah.
10 years, maybe
He's
nine or 10.
absolutely. He survived cancer. If you go to the Underdome page on Facebook, I've shared 2 videos from his boss, Kevo, who's a huge Bengals fan, but despite that, we like him anyway. But he's posting updates on what's going on with Sean. He's don't freak out, but he's in a medically induced coma because the burns are going to be so painful.
Yeah, right. Like he needs to heal.
Yes, he needs to heal before he's awakened. So,
Jesus.
but he's getting better. This happened on August 29th. So Sean has not been with us.
That's almost a whole month.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as I get news, I pass it along and I share it on social media.
Thank you for telling us that. And I'm going to tell Joey about that because Joey and him have Joe. Our co-founder Joey's he's terrible. Had a lot of health problems, but Sean was always very caring for Joey when he was going through stuff. So I will pass that information along. All right, you guys, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Support Under the Dome podcast. And this is what I say to the people that give us our gracious time on the C3 Beat Check is best of luck, just not this week, sir. Do you? Oh, he was like, he didn't get it. No. I want you to say, I want you to have good luck, just not this week against the Panthers. That was it. It's like best of luck. He was like,
you froze for a minute.
Oh, that's what froze. Did I freeze on your side, Cody?
Sure.
No, no, you were good on my end.
Oh, okay. And I was like, damn. I kind of
thought that he froze for a sec.
My man put the cold ice on me. He said, "Fuck you and your good luck next week with Bobby."
No, absolutely. You
froze awesome.
For a second.
All right.
And thank you. Yeah.
Well, best of luck, just not this week.
That's right.
Allen Ulrich, Under the Dome podcast. Thank you for your time, man.
All righty. Thanks,
man. You've been awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Cody. Another episode of the C3 Beat Check. Again, Tony Dunn can't stop talking. My flow, it's uncontrollable.
We both got the strong flow. And eventually I'll be able to let my flow back go and take this stupid ass headset off my head.
Oh, it's about to be here tomorrow, next week. A couple tomorrow.
I got everything I need. I just need to stand to get here.
It's
and
getting
we're ready
to
rock and roll, baby. Yeah,
my question to you,
Panthers podcast.
I want you to bring this up tomorrow on Friday. What we're gonna do tomorrow, we've got the simulation we're gonna do. We drop in the Madden simulation, which has actually turned out to be fun, more fun than actually watching the real game. But I want you guys to talk about on Friday. Maybe we need to think about it. Is what did you think about Robbie Anderson's comments about the fans?
I
get it and I don't get it. I'm not going to be upset about it, but I'm not. You know what? I'm also not going to be ashamed either. I'm not mad at him. But
I'll share I found the tweet for those wondering what we're talking. Robbie Anderson, when asked about fans who bring negative energy to the stadium, he says, "Those aren't fans. Fans have your back no matter what." And listen, he's not wrong, right? I mean, if you're a diehard fan,
and we're cheering for them every week.
And I think this is what coaches and football players don't understand. That when the fans voice their discontent at something, it doesn't mean that we're bad fans. It means that we're
cheering. We're not even cheering.
Yeah.
We want them to win every Sunday. We're crying when they're not.
Would we even be complaining if we didn't care? If we didn't want this team to be the best team that it could possibly be? And in fact, one of the reasons why I feel like the Panther fan base is so vocal right now, far more so than when it was time to fire Ron Rivera, is because of the bill of goods that we were sold by not only David Tepper, but Matt Rhule as well.
Yeah.
They talked about changing culture. They talked about building a winning franchise. David Tepper told us that mediocrity is unacceptable. Well, if it's unacceptable to everyone in the organization, supposedly, But then why should it be acceptable to us fans? It isn't.
They
And
said,
we're
we'll see. You know what? They said mediocrity is unacceptable. So we're just going to suck. Fuck that.
yeah, right. How defiant of them. But man,
Yeah, I'm not mad about this. I'm not mad about this because it's like one of those things we could get over mad about. But I don't like when, it's like I felt like I'm putting this tweet up is that Matt Rhule came out and put in his press conference and he's like, it's not like we're happy about this. And like we know you guys are out there going and giving it all, but fans are also kind of giving their emotional all, following everything. And
yeah.
I just don't want the pity party. Don't pity party me when you're making all the money, you're making all the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, imagine, look, we get people talking shit about this podcast and we don't make any money.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like the pity party. Like, I just don't want the pity party right now. And I think Matt Rhule, at least he had a little gumption and backbone today in his press conference for a moment. But I really would just like them. And I know it's easy. It's easy to be an armchair. It's easy for me to be on the internet talking about this and say, I would have done this better. I just wish they would say this, or this would be my suggestion, not wish they would say, this would be my suggestion. Because we're all fucking pissed until we win a game.
Yeah.
And we're trying to win. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like this. It's not like, oh, we got to prove to you that we're trying to. Just like this. We're fucking mad. It's fire.
And you know what?
And I know he kind of tried to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. To Matt Rhule's credit, he did kind of do that in his press conference earlier this afternoon. Someone even asked him about the culture, and he was like, respectfully, we don't need to be talking about culture. We're just trying to win a game.
Yeah, let's just trying to win,
there's
bro.
no vision. There's no this. There's no that. We just need to win football games. And by the way, shout out to David Newton. David Newton has gotten, as he always has been, he's so good at asking the question in the right way just to piss you off a little bit. And you can tell that he did that to Matt Rhule today.
He fires,
Matt Rhule was like, we're angry in there. We want to win. We know that winning is the only thing, and that's what we haven't been doing. So
people don't give David Newton enough credit. I know it's so easy to shit on him, but he does push the button. He's like your wife.
Out of all things that you have ever converted me on, by far this is the most. Because I used to so not be down with David Newton, but now it's like, dude, he's like your favorite mischievous uncle. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, he like really gets it. He gets it. I mean, it's like so he almost is like a independent media guy just working for you.
But especially at a time like this, Tony, when we're begging the media to ask legitimate questions.
The hard question. He asked the hard question.
The one doing it. So
I agree.
To him, man.
Give these two shouts, and then let's get the hell out of here.
Before we go, just don't care with the $5 love bomb.
Second one of the night. Thank you very much.
Second one of the night. We appreciate you, man. And then our man Jonathan Stanton with the $5. His Baker always lights up the Bengals, and I need you Panthers to whoop them little pretty tats.
Well, that's a little while down the road. We're worried about the Saints right now. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
But we'll do our best.
How about that? Is another fan from another fan base coming in here and dropping love?
Oh yeah, man. We've had I feel like just about every podcast we see fans from other teams coming and hanging out with us, man. We must be doing something right. Either that or maybe the people in the chat room are just so damn cool that they just gotta come and be a part of this conversation.
Don't forget you can join the C3 Superfans Club. It's a small way to support the podcast, but the freest, bestest way to support the podcast is to hit the thumbs up button to subscribe and just tell a friend, man. I love when I see Matt. I wake up after the Tuesday show and somebody just goes, you all got to rock with the C3 Panthers podcast. We got to get this therapy. It's the best tweet ever that I see. And all they do is share the link. I know it doesn't sound like, but it's one extra thing you can do is just share it on social media, whether it be Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, wherever you hang out and watch that stuff. We're just trying to reach Panther fans and grow this community. We've been doing it the right way. And when I say the right way, it's about us Y'all are the show. Y'all are the C3 Panthers podcast. Cody, take us out of here.
Yeah, man. Until next time, for the Friday free for all, Friday at 7 p.m., the show for the fans by the fans. You can come on and be a part. Join the link via stream this Friday at 7 p.m. Tony Dunn. Until that time, we're going to keep pounding.